still see empty seats. Let's
The mask that you see on various billboards, you say the battle is the Lord's. The mask that talk about I'm here to protect the public purse. The mask and the veil that pretends that I'm here to fight for corruption. We want to help unveil the mask even further. Now, as you know, that mask already has been largely removed. Not quite a few days. We have the following statement that came from an individual that the president of this country himself trusted and championed as an icon that believes in fighting against corruption. And I'm talking about the special prosecutor, Martin Amido, that the president and his people have described for many years as a fearless, patriotic, courageous, honest man who fights against corruption. Now, this man told us that when he met the president on 23rd of October 2020, he received the shock of his life when the president demanded that he, the special prosecutor, took no further action on the Japan royalties transaction anti-corruption assessment report for another week. That was when it dawned on him that the president, whom all along he, Martin Amido, had trusted so much for integrity, only looked like the innocent flower of anti-corruption, but in reality, he was really the mother corruption serpent under the innocent-looking flower. Martin Amido's words, not mine. Now, some months ago, I addressed a press conference in this country. That was in the wake of what was going on relating to sending troops in the Volta region under the guise that they were going to stop COVID patients coming through various borders of the East, which we knew was just hypocrisy. And in addressing that press conference, I made a statement. I said that what it is we have presiding over Ghana today is actually what Jesus in Matthew 23:28 called a whitewashed grave that looks beautiful on the outside, but when you open it up, it's filled with filth, dead men's bones, and corruption. Not my words, but the words of Jesus. A beautiful grave that looks very white and nice on the outside, but when you open it up, it's filled with decadence, with corruption, with dead men's bones, and with all manner of uncleanness. Exactly that is what Martin Amido is telling you. That all along, he had all along believed that we had a leader who truly is a leader of integrity, who believed in the fight against corruption, but in reality, he actually is the inspirer of corruption, the one who covers it up, the one who instigates it, the one who absolutely enables it to even thrive more. So we're talking Martin Amido's statement. We're talking about what some of us have said, months ago. And we're talking about what it is that today you'll be coming to realize for yourself. Now, we are not asking for perfection. That's not what we're asking for. There's no perfect leader anywhere in the world. Not in America, not in England, not in China. Nowhere do we have perfect leaders. We have humans. So there's no a problem about being human and being imperfect. Kwame Nkrumah was not perfect. Jerry Rawlings, my personal mentor, hero, was not perfect. He's a human being. Prof. Mills, President Kufuor, President Mahama, all of them are human. And President Akufo-Addo, human as well. But the danger is not simply about being imperfect. The danger is when you have an imperfect being who absolutely has made what you call hypocrisy and deception something that literally threatens the country, then there's serious danger. And that danger gets worse when you see a situation where all over people, voices of conscience that must speak, suddenly start acting, we have not heard, we have not seen, we cannot speak, then the country is in danger. That is the danger that confronts the very soul of this country today. Many of us are not realizing it, but it's a serious danger that threatens the very social fiber of Ghana. President Ronnie often spoke about the nature of the social fiber. And there's a gradual degradation, there's a systematic attempt to destroy it through lies, through deception, through hypocrisy, hiding the corruption. And if you try to fight it, it fights you back. That's exactly what happened to Manasseh Azuri, who fought corruption before the time of Nana Akufo-Addo. But when he attempted the same thing, he realized that it's a different ball game. That's what happened to Anas. He did the same thing before Nana Akufo-Addo. When he and Ameswale decided to do the same thing in this government, it's a different ball game. That's what happened to Domelovo. Today, it's on leave because it's a different ball game. In the midst of all the so-called fighting for the public purse, protecting the public purse, the battle is the Lord's. I'm actually coming to fight corruption. It's nothing but what you call gross corruption and degeneration of the highest order. And what makes it worse is the hypocrisy that endangers the very soul of this country. It's important to appreciate that leadership is all about credibility. Now, this lack of credibility is not simply in what it is we are about to see. You see the same lack of credibility even in the politicking. Many of you, I'm sure, will remember when the also West Wagon violence happened. That same afternoon, MPP organized a press conference. And what did they do? They say, actually, that whole thing was orchestrated by the NDC. The whole work of the NDC. NDC did it because we knew we were going to lose election. That is exactly who they are. They don't have the courage to appreciate what the truth is. So they would simply go at every length simply to cover it up. But eventually, when their own commission started going into it, the truth started coming out. Everybody got to know that no, NDC has nothing to do with it. That whole violence was simply done by the powers that be. They orchestrated it, they committed the violence, they did everything themselves. And when the commission presented the report, what happened to the report? Jettisoned. That again is a double talk, is a hypocrisy. And that is more grave than simply collecting bribe. The collecting of bribe is bad enough. But when you have on top of it, literally a presidency that simply is making sure that hypocrisy and deception become the order of the day, this country is in trouble. We are doomed. And if you in the media, if others who have what you call voices of conscience continue to pretend that we cannot see, we cannot hear, and allowing this to continue, we are destroying this nation and our children are in trouble. Our children are in trouble. The soul of Ghana is at stake. This is not just about power. Our national anthem says we should have fearless honesty. That fearless honesty should enable us to fight oppressors' rule. That's the only way you can build a nation that is great and strong. You have seen what you call a catalog of lies. One district, one factory, lies. What they've done is simply go back to same factories, give them some incentive. There's nothing wrong with accepting that, I promise this, I simply can't do it. There's nothing wrong. But when you go into what you call the grand deception, to lie to people when everybody can see that what you are doing is not what you promise, that is destroying the very soul of a nation. One village, one dam. They come and tell you that, do you expect us to be able to build dams with 250,000? Then why the deception? That's what you find systematically, all kinds of things. You say it's simply for power. And then when you say you promised was in a one-time premium, you didn't do it. So that's their justification. After all, we lost power. So if anything at all, the country has done what it's got to do. What about you? That rode on the high horse of incorruptibility. And you are actually doing far worse. And when they talk, they say, because you promised you didn't do, it justifies my degeneration, my decadence, my corruption, my lies, my hypocrisy. No. So what it is we are coming to show you today is to establish to you that we have been in COVID. And all over the world, COVID has been called a global pandemic. But there's actually a bigger pandemic that confronts Ghana. It's a pandemic of deception that is ruling this nation. It's a plague of hypocrisy that is presiding over Ghana. It's a transformation of Ghana into a citadel of corruption and allow all the enablers to keep quiet while grave danger is going on. So what you're going to see today is again another systematic effort by our friends in the NPP to try to play a fast one over every one of you. You in the media should not enable it. You should not enable it. Some of the lies you are going to hear that, oh, this actually happened even before he became president. It's a lie. We're going to establish that. We'll establish that to you. Or this actually was just a donation. There was nothing wrong about it. It's a lie. And deep down, I'm sure many of you know. Deep down in the heart of President Akufo-Addo, he knows. I come from Nogokpo in the Volta region. And a few of you who know Nogokpo will know. You dare not lie. If President Akufo-Addo actually says he's a man, let him come with me to Nogokpo and see whether he can lie there. He will not. He will not. But because in the name of all these holy, he can swear in the Bible and lie. Because there's no fear. But when it is that you know that you cannot escape, he will not be able to lie. And we'll be able to establish that to you, that all the things you are going to see, the maneuvers on the part of our friends in NPP to simply deceive you, is simply nothing but lies. Can you imagine if President Rawlings were caught on tape receiving $40,000 of bribe? Can you imagine what will happen in this country? Can you imagine what will happen in your media? What will happen in the civil society in this country, the religious establishment? I'm sure having a microphone realizes the danger that is facing this country. Can you imagine if Prof. Mills were found having bribe on tape? The difficulty, the revulsion that will happen all over this country. Can you imagine President Mahama were caught on tape receiving 40,000 bribe? But that's what we have with Mr. Incorruptibility. Mr. The battle is the Lord. Mr. I'm here to fight the public purse. Mr. If you want to make money, go to the private sector, don't come and join the public sector. Now, so the Japa deal, the PDS scandal, and the series of scandals that we've talked over and over and over about, the PPA scandals that people like Manasseh Azuri have brought out, all the uncovering that was done by Anas and the rest, all this is simply an evidence to let you know that every single one of those has been true. But what it is we have had is a massive cover-up, a lot of deception, a lot of pretense, a lot of looking like whitewashed graves, but hiding nothing but corruption, degeneration, and embellishing nicely with the double talk and the hypocrisy. So we will proceed now and show you a series of videos. We will be starting. First we'll be starting with the very fake one. The very fake one. Just as I mentioned to you, how they rushed during the also West Commission to come and fabricate all kinds of things. Wabi and Samoa led the whole lie that everything was NDC orchestrated. This is exactly what it is they do. This is a typical, modus operandi. So they rush ahead. You ask yourself, why would MPP suddenly start rushing ahead with putting out video that shows their leader receiving bribe or receiving donation, as they call it? Why? 1 week to election, suddenly MPP major, key social media leaders start putting out video of President Akufo-Addo receiving bribe. Why would they? Why would they? That tells you that something is happening. It tells you that they got wind that something true is about to come. So they decided to come ahead and, of course, believing that somehow the people of Ghana may not be able to see through. After all, they've got a lot of people who are enabling them anyhow. A lot of people who even know deep down the truth, but will pretend they don't see. They know that all the environment is this. So if we can go ahead and do, we will get a massive enabling environment that will enable us to be able to deceive the people and win power. That's what they did. So we want to show you first the fake one. Then after that, we'll give you the real background that led to what the main video is. And then when you understand the background, then we'll show you the real thing that happened. And all along, please take notes. And as you listen to the real one, take note and listen carefully. And you see the difference between what is being said in the fake and what is said in the real. Yeah, thank you very much. Now, what you see there is what you call the work of people who are out to deceive you. So what they do is to simply get what you call a typical clone voice and pretend the voice that was speaking in the background was talking about party t-shirts. But that's not what happened. Why would anybody go and be making party t-shirt donation in an office of a president? Party t-shirt donation? Who does that? We've been in this game for ages. Nobody comes to your office, come and make party t-shirt donation. And you hear the money that's mentioned. They mentioned 40,000. You will be hearing soon the real voice and the voice of the ambassador. What you saw there was simply pretending what you call as if as if he was the one speaking, but that's not. It's another voice that is being used, different words being used, and that's exactly the game of our friends in NPP. That's why I explained to you the reason why they had to rush to put this whole issue out. Because their whole plan is that they know the real thing is about to come. Let us rush and see whether we can pollute the minds of the people, deceive them that this is simply about party t-shirt donation to some flag bearer even before an election, in order to be able to limit what you call the damage. But don't fall for it. Complete fabrication, complete lie, the same cover-up that Martin Amidu talk about, the same cover-up that others who have fought corruption are talking about. That's exactly what we are seeing here. Massive cover-up. That's what this regime has been about. So please don't fall for that. Now, we are going to now show you the background. The background, what led Alhaji Abbas' wife, and Alhaji Abbas, for your information, was the director of urban roads appointed by President Mahama. Alhaji Abbas worked throughout the time we were in office. And Alhaji Abbas' second wife is the one you saw in that video. Now, if Alhaji Abbas wanted to make a donation to support the campaign of President Akufo-Addo, you go himself. That's what you do. You go and make a donation to him. Why? Because he will then see you and be able to maybe help you when he comes to office. If you check what is going on here, you notice that Alhaji Abbas' second wife had to go with leading members of the NPP. So you will see Ambassador Bewa. And Ambassador Bewa explained that he had gone to see Amabusia. These are very prominent people in the NPP. And of course, in our parlance, when you are trying to find a way of getting a favor in terms of somebody feels his job is at stake, people are threatening his job, you want to get the president to be able to look beyond, not do anything about it, that's exactly what it is that has been done here. So we are going to give you the background, what led to this whole bribe collection. The systematic effort that was being done prior by the NPP people to get Alhaji Abbas out, just like they got everybody out anyhow.
Every people to lead by example and not deep in it. The practice of serving political appointees of the previous government is a well-known subculture in the body politics of Ghana. Former government appointees automatically leave office with the president under whom they were appointed. However, the same cannot be said for civil servants or persons who work directly under the Ghana Civil Service. The civil service is a non-partisan institution insulated from partisan influences. In spite of the established neutrality of the civil service, some politicians still find means to influence recruitment, transfers, and promotions when their political parties win elections. They go any length to get their preferred people to be moved into positions of authority in order to influence decisions. Such was the case in 2017 when the New Patriotic Party won the 2016 elections. As usual, a change of government kicked in the obvious and usual jostling for positions. A plot was hatched in 2017 by some contractors, politicians, and some staff of the Department of Urban Roads to get the president to sack the director of urban roads, Alhaji Dr. Abbas Awolu. This was revealed in a documentary titled Dirty Deals at Urban Roads, Top Officials Exposed in Bribery and Corruption. The documentary was released by the Salis newspaper On YouTube in July 2017, the Salis newspaper was investigating bribery and corruption within the road sector. The plot to get Alhaji Abbas kicked out of office was revealed in the course of investigating 2 officials of the Department of Urban Roads for being in the habit of taking bribes from contractors. Before the undercover story was published on YouTube, the newspaper had earlier in June 2017 published on its front page with a caption, "Road contractors behind plot to remove urban roads director." In that story published on Wednesday, June 7, 2017, the Spanish newspaper reported that some road contractors were alleging, among other things, that under Alhaji Abbas, only roads in NDC strongholds were given upgrades. They further alleged that Alhaji Abbas runs the department as an autocratic leader. The newspaper further stated that former President John Mahama imposed Alhaji Abbas on the department with the exit of one Dr. Dako to the Ministry of Roads. Some of these allegations came up when the Salis was investigating the new Jabe Municipal Director of Roads, Mr. Francis Tosu, for bribery and corruption. He was of the view that Alhaji Abbas had to go because he was a challenge to their deals. He even said that Alhaji Abbas was being protected by the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, just like former President Mahama, because of his northern roots.
We are finding a way of getting him out of the project. People who might got information and say,
Mr. Tosu took an amount of 2,000 Ghana cedis from the Salis investigators to help them secure contracts. The investigators paid for his lunch as well. Following this story, 2 petitions were submitted to the local government minister, Hajia Halima Mahama, and the head of the local government service, Dr. Nana Atto-Ata, for investigation and action. Both Francis Tosu, the new Municipal Director of Roads, and Benjamin Bambo, the Tema Metropolitan Director of Roads, who were caught on tape receiving bribes in separate encounters from the Salis investigators, came under criminal investigations by the Ghana Police Service. Watch how a presidential staffer reveals the 3 big men behind the grand scheme to get the Director of Urban Roads out of office, and how a Deputy Chief of Staff is heavily involved. As the plan to kick Alhaji Abbas out taken, some party communicators and serial callers were unleashed on radio to mount calls on the president to sack Alhaji Abbas. Behind these communicators and serial callers were some contractors and some politicians who were going to be the ultimate beneficiaries. They alleged that Alhaji Abbas was an NDC man that was going to sabotage the NPP in the area of roads. Sometime in 2017, Edmond Che, a presidential staffer, offered to assist Alhaji Abbas by influencing party communicators and also plead with the Chief of Staff on his behalf so that he is not moved from his position as the director of urban roads. The Sunday schools took up what wind of this and went undercover. The first meeting with Edmonche was at a pub in East Legon, a suburb of Accra. The meeting was to find out how the presidential staffer was hoping to help stop the agenda to get the director of urban roads out. Edmonche presented his plan. He talks about how to compromise top journalists and some 3 big men with money. He lays down a plan, in his words, to kill the story.
I want to close all. If we go okay. no longer I can go to other places, no longer media presence, no longer. We need to have and the point was just not about
And Jay told the investigator about how close he is to the chief of staff and one of their deputies. The presidential staffer showed the undercover investigator a video and a picture of the president and a deputy chief of staff, Mr. Asenso Boache, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Bantama constituency, who were out of the country. And Boache said he is an errand boy for the deputy chief of staff, and so he listens to him.
Yeah, thank you very much. This took a little bit of time, but just to let you understand the background, that Alhaji Abbas' wife did not just go to see President Akufo-Addo out of nothing. A number of things had happened that forced Alhaji Abbas to send the wife together with very influential MPP people to go and see the president. And this is the background. So this, you appreciate exactly what is going on here. Now, we are now about to show you, the real do. The real do is about to show. Now, and listen to that conversation. You will notice this is authentic, this is natural, this is, the real thing that happened. So you listen to it carefully, and then you will see exactly the difference between what is authentic and the fake thing that our friends in the MPP had sought to literally deceive the whole country, and of course using the media to be able to deceive the country. You'll see the clear difference and understand, given this background, you can appreciate it more properly.
As it became obviously clear that losing his job was imminent, the Director of Urban Roads, Alhaji Dr. Abbas, sent a delegation to see the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. They were led to the President by Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Dr. Ajay Bewa. In his company were a woman and a man who were introduced as wife and brother of the Director of Urban Roads. According to Ambassador J. Bewa, he was leading them on behalf of Madam Anna Muzia, President, that the meeting was the first business of the day. The meeting was in the private residence of the President in Nima to plead for clemency and to state the side of the allegations being leveled against him by the party communicators and a section of the media. They explained their mission in detail while denying the allegations of partisan leanings against the Director of Urban Roads. The President took notes in his diary while he explained their mission.
Your Excellency, and I say, as I am in front of me, I'm like a bus into the I'm also an office, our politics, it's also a politician office. On people in Java or dance, and so turn a map for time, I will say, bring up people, say, Yamra, in the thought of mother. And come by himself,
he gained an amount of $40,000 concealed in a brown envelope on behalf of the Director of Urban Roads to the President. Ambassador Ajay Bewa, seeing that the President was writing at the time, the money from the man and handed it over to the President. President Akufo-Addo received the money with both hands while beaming with smiles.
Now, say,
To put a name on the money, President Akufo-Addo requested to have one. The woman asked her brother whose name to give the President. She spoke in Debunking. She offered to give her name and spells it out for the President, who gladly writes it out in his diary.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is the evidence. That's what you call Fili Gadochi. Fili Gadochi. This is not different from what Martin Amido told you when he said the finance minister had to come and visit him one dawn in his house with a very known person in order to exactly. This is exactly what it is, a confirmation. Not different exactly from calling Martin Amidu to the office of the president one Sunday in order to plead with him to stop the investigations. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Now, and you heard clearly, the gentleman who obviously was the one speaking referred to him as His Excellency. You heard that? His Excellency. That should tell you, he was not addressing a candidate. He was addressing somebody who was His Excellency. Somebody who had secured power and was president. That's what he was talking to. And the gentleman who recorded this obviously knew him because he told him that he had already met him together with Colonel Damois? Colonel Damois at the same Madame Amabuzier's residence. The evidence is glaring. It's absolutely glaring. And I know deep down in your heart, you know. Deep down in the heart of the people of Ghana, they know. Deep down in the heart of what you call the voices of conscience of this country, you know. If this were about GM, it would be a different ball game. If this were about Prof. Mills, it would be, the noise would have reached the highest heaven by now. If it were about Jerry Rawlings, it would have passed through and gone to God knows where. But somehow, when it's about President Akufo-Addo, some networks, as soon as we reach the place to show the media, they start to play adverts. They play adverts. They play adverts. Some of those same networks that were playing what you call unsubstantiated claims against the chairman of the NDC, when it comes to this one, they play adverts. I said it earlier, the soul of Ghana is at stake. The soul of this country is at stake. The corruption is terrible enough. But worse than it is a cover-up, is a hypocrisy, is a deception, is a compromise. It's almost like an unholy alliance to ensure that the degeneration continues while we close our eyes, pretend we have not seen, and we cannot speak. That is the biggest danger that confronts the country. So thank you very much, and I'll give the opportunity to Sami to
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll address you very soon, both in English and in the Akan language. But let's listen to our Director of Communications who has something to say about this video.
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. I know that because of the nature of your work, you read and you have a wide knowledge of what happens elsewhere in the world. I'm urging all of you to demand that because of the seriousness of the allegations contained in the video, the president must personally speak to it. Please, do you understand what I'm saying? There are human beings who have been named in there, who are Ghanaians, who are resident here. The president, as an accused person, I am urging him, I am demanding that I want to hear his voice. He must come and absolve himself. This is the least that I expect from you. And I know that you will do your patriotic duty and call upon him to come and answer why he took 40,000 cedis as donation. And please, listen to me. Be patient. Why he took 40,000 cedis as party donation, or why he took $40,000 as bribe. I am sure if he came here today, to explain himself, you have questions for him. Am I not right? Now, let me tell you just one small thing before I take my seat. Mr. Fifi Kweti has done a wonderful job this afternoon, and I'm sure you have a lot to write about, so I don't want to take too much of your time. I have known President Akufo-Addo for over 30 years, because I'm a lawyer, and lawyers tend to get to know each other fairly well. And I have known him politically too for quite a while. On my honor, I am telling you that President Akufo-Addo, as a human being, believes in only one thing. Do you know what it is? He believes in Nana Akufo-Addo. Nothing else. That is why when he set up a government, so many of the members of government are his relatives. That is why when we have COVID, when everybody, and I'm talking about individuals, everybody in the world, a danger arises, the first thing you do is to cut down expenditure. Is that not so? He has 128 ministers, many of whom we know are redundant. For example, let me ask you just a few questions. Have you ever seen Addo Safo answer questions in Parliament? She's a minister, I'm sure you know about that. And she's actually Minister of Procurement. There have been many procurement issues in this country. Have you ever heard her say anything whatsoever? Why is she still a minister? We have already done the division of regions into 16 now. Why do we still have a minister responsible for regional integration or whatever they call it? We have a minister for monitoring and evaluation. What does he do? These are questions that, as president, I expect you to call upon the president to explain. Because even if, assuming that they were even doing something useful, because of the pandemic, we try to cut down costs. Okay, now because of the pandemic, we cannot do this, you cannot do this. So let us combine Minister of Say, Sanitation and Procurement. He never did anything like that. Because as far as he is concerned, what pleases him is what he does. I want you to put this down. What pleases him is what he does. He doesn't do anything to please us. At the moment, he has lost all moral authority. That is why he cannot gather the courage to come and face you so that you ask him about his tenure. That is why, as a lawyer for almost 50 years, he has been a lawyer for 49 years, I'm telling you, he's afraid of a debate. He has no moral authority left. Because you and I, who have been to school, who know how the democratic system works, because we have experienced it ourselves for almost 30 years, and we know how things happen elsewhere. You and I will demand certain questions and he cannot answer. The first time I saw this video, I felt extremely ashamed. As Comrade Fifi Kweti said, all of us are sinners and have come short of what? The glory of the Lord. But there are certain people that we look up to for direction and leadership. This is our president descending so low to take money so that somebody can be retained in office. And as you think about all these things, remember that when in opposition, Nana Akufo-Addo as a person made a lot of noise about contracts, road contracts that had been overbloated. Do you remember that? So why did he retain this particular man who must have known everything about the overbloating of road contracts under John Mahama? Why did he retain him? These are questions that you have to ask and demand answers to. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just briefly, just to raise some pertinent issues about this matter, this videotape issue. And I'm going to raise these issues, even though some of the issues have already been raised by Honorable Fifi Kweti and Lawyer Kakri Samoa. It's important that we reiterate a few things because of the fact that as we speak, there are 2 videos in circulation. And it appears that the MPP has succeeded to some extent to create doubt and confusion about the authenticity of the real authentic video we just showed you today. Their game plan, like Honorable Fifi Kwete explained, was to play a fast one on us by releasing a doctored tape. One that would disabuse our minds of any suspicion that indeed that donation was criminal. It was a bribe and not a mere campaign donation. So anyone who has already watched that video, in fact, most people who have watched that first video, the one the MPP themselves released onto social media, is now very dismissive of this whole subject, because not all of them are able to take the time to watch the authentic one. Now, I've heard the Minister for Information speak to this matter. Some arguments have been made, including Kweku Baku Jr. and other people, that, oh, what was first released by the MPP is the authentic video. And what we are showing is rather the fake one. And so the first pertinent issue I want us to interrogate, think about, is number one: who donates party t-shirts to a politician or a presidential candidate and records the donation? I mean, since the days of Nkrumah, we've been having elections in this country. As politicians, in this election, t-shirts. People have donated t-shirts to me. Now, who will give Sami Jenfi t-shirts, or John Mahama t-shirts, or President Akufo-Addo t-shirts for his campaign and record? Why a secret recording? For what? I mean, incredible. Obianiwa na dream budawa. Obabecha mere t-shirt no amount of 40,000. Say fire campaign no asanso a record o abra no na dia ne chew. Apel wo favor. Dia na sintia o be record o. So since Ghana beto since independence, President Akufo-Addo is the only politician who has received a campaign donation and has been recorded. Why haven't we had any politician in this country who has ever been recorded for receiving a simple donation of t-shirts and money for campaign? Only Akufo-Addo. As for him, when people give him t-shirts, they go with a secret camera and record the donation of the t-shirts. For what purpose? That's number one. Number two, the tape the MPP released, which they call the authentic tape, at least the portion where Dr. Ajay Bawuah, Ghana's ambassador to America, was telling President Akufo-Addo about their mission in his office, captures Dr. Bawuah saying that the woman is the wife of Alhaji Abbas, Urban's Rules Director. We've all watched it. Yeah. That admission is on the MPP's own tape. Okay. So we now know the identity of the woman. There are women in this room. Which woman married to a Mahama NDC appointee? A woman married to a Mahama NDC appointee, a man who has been made the Urban's Roads Director by President Mahama. The wife of this man goes to the opposition leader, an opposition leader who is accusing the appointor of her husband, President Mahama. Opposition leader accusing her own husband, the Urban Roads Director, for inflating road projects, which is a crime. Now this woman, because she's so foolish, went to see the opposition leader that take money, take t-shirts, campaign and win, so that when you can come and do what? Investigate my husband for inflated projects? Or sack my husband? I mean, I don't get it. That's number two. Number three, we are being told that the original tape is what the MPP has released. It was about the donation of party t-shirts and money. And that the gentleman who recorded the video has doctored it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've shown you two videos. What the MPP itself released and what has been released by Salis newspaper on social media, that is YouTube, as the authentic video, which is what we believe in. In both videos, it is clear, even to the uninitiated, that the gentleman who was talking to President Akufo-Addo was the one who recorded the video. Is that not the case? Because his face doesn't show in the video. It's only his hand. So he did the recording. Now, who called that gentleman? Who called on that gentleman to address President Akufo-Addo? The woman, who is the second wife of the Urban Rules Director, Alhaji Abbas. So the two of them went together. Now the guy who did the recording told President Akufo-Addo, like Honorable Fifi Kwiti said, that we once met with Lieutenant Colonel Damwa. And by the way, Lieutenant Colonel Damwa is the current commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authority. So President Akufo-Addo knew him. This is not an NDC person. He said, we met you at Madame Amabuzier's house. This guy recorded it. And this guy was in the company of Hajia Fozia, second wife of the Urban Rules Director. Do you think that you can record a presidential candidate when he is not president? Record him taking party t-shirts and campaign donation from you, and wait for him to win, become president. At the time, you supported him. Now he's president. Whatever favor you want, you can get from him. And then you waited 4 years. Now that he is commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, now you have the audacity to doctor the tape you secretly recorded without his permission and doctor it to appear as him taking bribe from you, and you will still be working as a free woman or as a free man. Kwaku says that the guy who did the recording is hiding in Benin. That is true. But the guy was in the company of a woman, and it was the woman who, when she was called upon to address President Akufo-Addo, said that I came with this guy, so I would rather he speaks to you. Was that not what we watched? Both in the MPP tape and in the authentic tape. So why is this woman walking free if it is true that she visited then candidate Akufo-Addo with a person who has now doctored, who secretly recorded President Akufo-Addo and has now doctored the tape? This is clear cyber crime if what government and the MPP are saying is true. When I, Sami Jemfi, time one, me Sami Jemfi, yadi asembi to me so say ma share bibi e wo Facebook na letterhead that's no a fake no. In record time yadi a police for be do any two and ebe che me wo UTV. And that's a foolish case. And nipa ye kan one sem no a okoye complain here one penye Akufo-Addo ma menu aba na Asante Bedietu. We dey anya na Asante Bedietu o man penyi pay mu na nkasa commander in chief. And yes say obi ma no party ntare and na wa record no. And na wa be yo man penyi wa kwa akosesa tape ni say na nye party ntare na ye bribe. And na nipa kro ne nanam ho. Yen fa asem no ma police. Yen nye bibia yen chi obia. And at the MPP communicators, including the Minister for Information, here, and they say, your original tape, that is your antidote. Ubi a blackmailing our president. Ubi a doctor, a taper, the commander-in-chief, it was to be. Yes, oh, yeah, the tape, it is no longer a crime. Abusianfo, Saudi MPP for tape now. I'm being told to speak more tree. If you would see MPP for tape now, and I would want you to go back to the tape again. We are not going to play all, just go to the middle. They claim that tape is the authentic one. So let's work with that. Let's grant them that. Now, no, go to the middle, mute the sound. When the guy begins to talk, he says that into Yaba, Eya etade nyama man for some family but Emma. Na Yaba say. And he said, we will propose our now what free and I mean proposals for what and from who? If the man was not president and he was just an opposition leader, why was the guy talking about proposals? Proposals, you are going to support an opposition leader, and you say if you have proposals, call us to come and... I mean, does it make sense? You go to the middle portion where the guy was speaking, and let's listen. He uses the word proposals. What proposals? You can forward it. No, forward it to where the guy was speaking. It's okay. Okay. So you heard the proposals. What proposals being opposition leader will command a t-shirt or a t-shirt. You understand? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the woman didn't go in her name because we should tape now. My men can baby I say, may a contractor and I'm a win and maybe wow. The entire core honor, Ambassador Dr. J. Bewu, Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America, said it. Or say any Alhaji Abbas, Urban's rules director. Meaning the woman is not Obabia, or per contract and now pay BBA free on Penny Kufuado ho. Ni kununti no ko. And a new Kunusu Mahama appointee, and a Mahama Tia Kunyaso. And on Penny Kufuado ho position. Send you Kunu Disika. And a my men no time new Kunti. Wako new Kunu town for her. Send me Mausi come out the campaign, Massa. At the Ghana for MPP Buyese, MPP for Buyese, ya wahuri ya nimkosrana. And I am no mabia, yesisi biaswa yen to me in Hunokre. Atrono Mudino is an insult to our intelligence. Abujanfo, ne yenka binshemu yete ha. Ya sorry one day, Justice Anai, host of that show on Net 2, did a video recording. Kennedy Japan's boy. I'm sure you've seen the video. That's as MKCB Beba ebe shaking the foundations of the MPP. Now MPP communicators are moving huno. E mama ba mu. Ya be stress agency as asem ne fan hono. E ba obuni communicators think. I Sami Jemfi, I didn't even know anything about this tape. Nobody in the NDC had even heard anything. Do you know why they panicked to release this tape ahead of time? Because Kevin Taylor had done a program and had served notice that he was going to release a bombshell. So they thought that this was the video Kevin Taylor was going to release. And they went ahead of themselves and doctored the tape and released the doctored tape so that people will not believe the original when it comes out. Let's see evidence. Boss, show me the screenshots of MPP members sharing the doctored tape. Maybe people will not believe that it was MPP people themselves who showed the tape. So show them the evidence. Say MPP for one kasa na di tape ne ba bonten. Na one kasa fa kwa bimbi mu hwe say eto asumu. Say bibia nsie NDC for ye meka hwe. This is Efia Kutu, our wife. Deputy Maslock is a can answer please watch this part one of the original footage doctored to boost the NDC's last pre-election fake news drive. The NDC had not said anything about any video. So why this post? Afia Kutu. Next one. Next one. Krobia Asante, and this is from Asasi Radio, which belongs to, I think, President Akufo-Addo, but they say Gabi Ochedako. Let's take it like that. At least Gabi is his cousin. But as I say, part 1 of the original footage, you realize that it is the same caption. See the next post. If you have Charles Nikweteko's one, you can find that one too. So they planned, this was something from the communications outfit. That you yourself, how did you get the video? That you claim somebody secretly recorded President Akufo-Addo. You didn't do the recording. How did you get it and doctor it? What are we trying to tell you? What we are telling you is that the first video the MPP released, amount for Asha and almost the same way a foolish case for you, a fake, a doctored. Evidence in the same. A ampa. Say MPP for better kumyaso. MPP communicators for ka say. Alaji Abbas or your Urban Rules Director or your NDC nincho mon penana a yampa na yampa mon country Ghana for mon amoyan central for. Google it now. Whether said there is no evidence of MPP communicators and officials saying that I was said Alaji Abbas pamono. And whether petitions were not sent to the ministry saying pamono. It happened in Ghana. And central for me are aware. And yadana communicators ni na ye din o man kasa biem. Na John Mahama appointee wetin atena komia so mfie 9. Appointee a na yese wa inflate projects or that sort of. And I'm sure maybe he's the only one. Our man Penny Mahama man posa for such a big institution or that so director. I said we munya rem. And NDC Mahama appointee is now the lover boy of the MPP. They are defending. The first tape Honorable Fifi Kwete showed captures a gentleman called Edmond Che, and I know him very well, who is an assistant to Charles Asenso Boache, Deputy Chief of Staff. The same Deputy Chief of Staff, now not I Sami Jenfi, but Kennedy Japan told us was collecting $20,000 from people who wanted to see the president before he gave them access. Was it Kennedy Japan who said it or not? He did it. The same as Asenso Boache that A+, a disappointed MPP member who happens to be a friend, said was collecting bribes in the case of the Kuluibu matter. I'm sure you remember. His personal assistant, what was the personal assistant doing with Alhaji Abbas? Is that part 2 doctored? Is that part 2 doctored? Asenso Boache's personal assistant talking to aides or people who work with Alhaji Abbas say, Mayesika. Now was them na ba MPP for so mumpe obiom no. Me fan kokunu kura, me sili lupus ni na. Me ne Asenso Boache be kasa. I mean, I know so you fake. I know so you are doctored. Abusiafo, the truth is that President Akufo-Addo ba you know. Na ye pamo nipa John Mahama mo adwuma. In fact, contractor for ni Ghana for bibiri ye pamo mo. It Alhaji Abbas ye Urban Rules Director na ye pamo no because almost so ye NDC ni. Communicators no koji ni sika say ye be no foolish case amfa because na mpenyufo hye akiri. And okohu Master Dr. J. Bewa is not a small person in MPP. So if you want to go and donate party t-shirt, he will lead you to President Akufo-Addo. Are we children? Even if you want to donate party t-shirt to President Mahama, will I lead you? You will go and give it to a gate man at his office or a secretary. Dr. J. Bewa leading somebody to go and donate party t-shirts. Master, what are you talking about? Mama Minkachi. Why na yes sir? 1,000 t-shirts to Omampeni Akufo-Addo. Why na yes sir? Enti kwa muko fie hono. The main purpose, and I'm choosing my words carefully because video no ye what they change say wo na beba. The main purpose the enti muko fie hono say me kunu ye tata no ye di nani. Ba me kunu kura no ota soma se emfasi camera ne ndu ho. Na wasoma ye say no mekasa na boa no kotodwegu fom. It is in authentic tape. Inti ye baya ye kita $40,000. On say we authentic into the currency ni shawo. Omo de ne fake no currency. One em obi sika 40,000 euros or 40,000 sefa or 40,000 what? 40,000 what? Rubies, maybe 40,000 rubies. And now look at how President Akufo-Addo Eden and Samuel was he a goalkeeper when he was in school? As a goalkeeper, Ali Jara. Can we see that part alone? Can we see that part? I mean, is it Buffon or a Buffon and Ali Jara or I mean, we can for or Mampenye Akufo-Addo. Yeah, oh, Soya Babaya Ghana Mampenyi. Hold on. Oh, Soya Babaya Ghana Mampenyi. Or the Nesaba Kuna Swaf Afnamu. It's Swai Ghana for you. Educata as a Senate Proed out on some million, which is goalkeeper. I was for Waje bribe $40,000 to keep an NDC Mahama appointee in office. That is it. Your muye ni nyinano a fake. And like Honorable Fifi Kwete said, so Mampenye Akufo-Addo say anya no kra. O ma yonko no boko na onkonko deny. Waje bribe. Dia ne yeketa to wa guga na nimu ase. Can you imagine what Nigerians who are watching this on social media are now thinking about Ghana? What Europeans, Americans, Senegalese, our neighbors, say no be who Ghana. It's what Mampenye Akufo-Addo ko ECOWAS meeting and say no be who no. Ghana has now become a butt of jokes. A subject of ridicule and contempt. So woman penny to media damudie say the other is a Ghana yenimunyam asay. And unti and I cast as woman penny Akufo-Addo. So a man of conscience and this a coma draw that back and I turn a swabba. I was called resign. And he must resign. And we are sending a petition to Scratch. At least Martina do a investigation and also want to be near California. Or Mampenye Akufo-Addo, your mother serpent of corruption to Wajai. Auditor General, Yapamono. Is a Manasa Zurene, I'm a swallow munina. I mean, it's all your Arabia Pacawos in the Bay, Sanji Mue, and Naudia, Namaye, Ediamaye. Now, we shall when I make a see. Honorable Fifi Kwete Bosso. As I'm trying for your name, you may told be a bomachi and just say a town for because most boyachi. Nyamianim Nukreni, or require some trophy be AC treaties as some way as Sefem. A bini de now Honorable Fifi Kwete Kase, yeah, press conference. Yeah, join news for our arrangements on the program ye live. Almost a press conference in live. It do say about video, almost say about adverts. Why? Almost editorial policy. We cannot confirm whether the tape is authentic. And now born Adum TV, but we can't confirm whether it is authentic. Were you able to confirm whether Samuel Ofuswampofo's tape was authentic before you played it on Joy FM and Adom FM? Because in that case, you constituted yourself into a court of competent jurisdiction. And you were able to decide that the tape was authentic. And you played it. So, that one, we were able to call your people and ask whether the tape was authentic or not. That is why we played it. Okay, so you don't have any reporter here who can ask the NDC. We are releasing the video now. The video is on YouTube, but now we are releasing it. So your reporter Pakawosin cannot ask us questions about the authenticity of this. So when it comes to the NDC, different set of rules. MPP, different. What kind of double standards and hypocrisy is this? And this is a constructive criticism. If you have a policy not to play tapes, leak tapes, fine. But you cannot be playing tapes involving higher ups in the NDC, even when the authenticity of such tapes are in doubt. Now, about MPP, must you know the editorial policy was here, Shansa, Nedia Kekano. And yes, I need the church of mine. Until we have for your best friend. Ewo YouTube. In some trophobia, Yadamwase, Ebiani, Yaya Diaba. Even if you don't believe in it, put a disclaimer on it. This is coming from the NDC. Report it. And let Ghanaians who are discerning judge. Let them watch the two videos and judge. Near ready all kind of cray. Yenim say come 7 December. Unyankopon be kasa. Unyamia wa pa o Mampenye Akufo-Addo won to mama na dapa daddy. Unyamia wa mo Mampenye Akufo-Addo the mother serpent of corruption crew ayema no. Obe kasa. O Mampenye Akufo-Addo antu ni wade so a. O Mampenye Akufo-Addo antu ni wade so a. Ghana for ebetu na dia so on 7 December. Now where they are smoking gun evidence about Samuel Bribe Boabeyi, MPP presidential staffer and known social media activist. Anopeya ena oye post to it. Mr. Abdul Malik Kwekubakon should blame himself for recruiting and training people into such vicious enterprise. Now it's clear that the negatives of their so-called secret female outweighs the positives. His current former boys have benefited immensely from this treacherous agenda than the states and citizenry they claim they are protecting or working in their interest. Now me say me nkawe, na mama me nkawe, na me fama no see. Do you know what Samuel Brabo is talking about? And do you know why Kwekubaku diabam? The guy who recorded the tape is called Yakubu Swale. He used to work with Anas Arimiya Anas, partner of Abdul Malik Kwekubaku. Only Anas Nyasem they fell out. At a time only Anas here Jumano and record those whether it was with Anas's approval or not, I don't know. But the guidance or the recording way, if you Anas what, this is how they operate. Only Anas Nyasem no eno kofa Kennedy Japan adamfo. Only Kennedy Japan here Juma. Who watches the Watchman Kennedy Japan ade o yegu Anas animu asinyina. This Salis newspaper guy on the year against Anas. Momo semtro for mumu bibre nim. E yehuntia kamaka. So say only Kennedy Japan so nya asem because e tape we a ho ba asem say obi a record o mampanyi Kufuado say wo gisika or the year blackmail ni ade no. And now muti di ni say yes oni Anas na ye adwuma na ye friend Swale. And ye koku innocent man am Swale kwa. So I believe that the murder of Swale was on grounds of mistaken identity. That's what I believe. Because they are all Swales. Why is Samuel Brabo being accusing Malik Kwekubaku as having trained the one who did the recording? He for no money Kwekubaku ye adwuma enye omo money Anas ye adwuma. Then okọ record o mampanyi Kufuado bi anim se Kwekubaku adamfo ne o mampanyi. Why? Because I mean, you remember when Kennedy Japan was showing pictures of Anas and Swale, say omo ye bad boys. Why we be show mu bi abomo anakumo mo na beji sika wono hono. Oka asem bi e wa Adom TV, the tape is there, go and find it and listen to it. Oka say omo ye bad boys no ma ye sa say omo be record o mampanyi Kufuado say ojisika. Go and listen to the tape, it is in there. The entire Kennedy Japan and is not because of number 12. The main reason was this tape. Because this tape was done in 2017. Now NDC for you tape we are the better. I'm not be doing. Yeah, NDC ni be beti me come ampanyi Kufuado office. When you could record no. No was answer ka cho ampanyi say meta no we meeting with Lieutenant Colonel Damwa e wa mabuzi afie. What has this got to do with NDC? And you have a minister for misinformation who has no shame, trained to lie, saying, this tape is part of fake news coming from the NDC. What has this got to do with the NDC? The only time we got this video was when it came on YouTube from the Salis guy. So an innocent man has been murdered because of this. And that is why we are journalists. Now we can we share because of your friendship with somebody. And now because of the lack of principle, the lack of truth, every politics and the moral decadence and corruption, let your conscience speak to you. We know that the Lord will speak on 7th December and there will be change. Thank you very much for coming. If you have questions, you can ask. Honorable Fifikite is here. They will answer you. I don't think you have questions. The one who not usually likes questions today, Paka Wilson will not ask questions because his own media organization didn't show the video. So I'm not sure he will have questions for us. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf, you have a question? Okay. Please, the press conference is not over. Please, let's exercise decorum.
Even though you explain it to details, a lot of things are the authenticity of the two videos that you have shown us this afternoon. But there's one key question that has come up, which is whether the video was recorded before then candidate became a president, or at the time he was a president. Because in both videos, there is no indication, an emphatic indication that Mr. Nana Akufo-Addo was a president at the time the video was being recorded, or was a candidate of the NPP at the time the video was being recorded. So how then do we, you put the video in a position, how then do we ascertain the two information? Thank you.
Okay. If you can kick back, no, it's a very important question. If you can get my phone on, I will show you something. But whether the phone comes on or not, I will share this video with you. It's a video of just Ambassador Bewa, the guy who recorded President Akufo-Addo and President Akufo-Addo in his office. There is no audio, but you will see the three of them sitting in that same office, right? And with that video, the camera captured the date, and the date captured is 2017. And so I am promising you that I'll give you that video. But even in the absence of that video, I am saying that Alhaji Abbas was living comfortably as a Mahama NDC appointee, serving as Urban Roads Director. When did his position come under threat? When? Under President Mahama, there were no cause for his removal. Even if they were, why will you go to an opposition leader to save him from the hands of Mahama, the one who appointed him? Who does that? If President Akufo-Addo wants to sack you now, will you go to President Mahama with money and party t-shirts? But given the fact that President Akufo-Addo himself had made allegations of corruption, pardon of projects against this Urban Roads Director, do you think that his wife, beloved wife, second wife, will go to the man who is seeking the head of her husband and give her support to campaign and win? Massa. It doesn't connect. And I'm telling you, say no man penye Akufo-Addo opposition, eh? And can be anywhere beba ni team say come opposition, opposition yan wa mobo. Opposition ni party t-shirt. O say masanso the camera share matade mu record no. For what? Is it even news? But I record opposition leader. So meaning it is not true. And Ghana need be over these two tapes. Na okan okre so MPP ni kra. Obi said the can no kra. And that is why MPP for be aye din with social media no. Abom yare. Because I rehearsal man penya uji ni di. Just like Martinami Duka said, I believed President Akufo-Addo as my anti-corruption Moses. But I didn't know that he was an innocent looking flower of anti-corruption. But in reality, the mother serpent of corruption. Onyame Shramo, thank you for coming. So, we will see you before you leave. Give us a few minutes. Thank you. We can close.
Hi, bro. You guys
It's Kananza who is doing that. Yeah. Who has my phone? So come for the video, eh?
There is something small for 40,000 pounds. Your Excellency, there is something small for 40,000 pounds. Your Excellency, there is something small for 40,000 pounds. 40,000 pounds. There is something small for 40,000 pounds. Your Excellency,
Here is something small for 40.
Maybe Kakra 40,000. And now we come over.
Your Excellency, here is something small for 40,000.